Okay, so this is a basic bodice block, right? Now, if you know you don't have patience when sewing or you like rushing your work, then probably this video is not for you. But anytime you come across this video, just make sure you watch this video to the end and also subscribe to be notified anytime I upload new tutorial. Now, this video is just 11 minutes long. Now, take your time and watch it, and I promise you're going to achieve the same result. Now, I'm giving you a standard method of how to achieve this. Now, this is my block that I've achieved already, and I'm going to explain how I got it. And like I said, if you like doing sharp work or you like acting like you know it all, then maybe this video is not for you. So basically, for the block, the length I'm using is 24 inches, and then for this side to this side, I divided the highest part of my body measurement into two and added extra half-inch allowance to it. And the highest part of my body measurement here is my upper hip, which is 38 inches. Okay, so for clarity's sake, this is the measurement I am working with. Now, I told you the length I used is 24 inches. You can use 28, you can use 26, depend on your height. And what I have here is my full length, my front half length, my back half length. Now, the difference between my front and my back half length is 1.5 inches. Please make sure you take your own measurement. And simply that 1.5 inches, we're going to be minusing it from the back measurement. Now, this is my shoulder, my bust point, and then my upper hip. Now, the upper hip measurement, like I said, is what I am using to get the block. Now, this is 38. I divided it by 2, and it gave me 19 inches. I added half inch to it. That was how I was able to get this block here, right? Always remind you to learn to work with your measurements. This is my own body measurements that I am working with. If yours is similar, then fine. So now go ahead to divide this block into two so that we can get the front part and then the back block. Okay, so now go ahead to divide it into two all the way down and connect to the straight line. Now this video is just 11 minutes long, but trust me, it did not take me 11 minutes to create it. Now we have to edit it so that we don't bore you with talk and all of that, and also help you to preserve your data. Okay, so after I'm done connecting it, this is the front and then this is the back part. Now you can decide to cut out this part and work on the front separately and the back separately. But I'm going to be doing them together so you understand everything the standard way. Now I'm going to be starting with the front part, and this is going to be my starting point line. So from the shoulder, I'll mark to my bust point, which is 10.5, and then my front half length is 16.5, and then the full length, of course, is 24 inches. Now this is how to get your armhole measurement. I'm going to be dividing my round bust measurement by 6. I'm going to be adding 2.5 inches to it. Now whatever your round bust measurement is, if it's 24, 30, 40, that is what you're going to use with that formula. So mine is 8.5, so I'm going to go ahead to mark that 8.5 and connect it. So moving forward, I'll go ahead to divide my shoulder measurement by 2, mark it. Whatever I got there, I'm also going to be making the same thing on that chest line, just so I get a straight line. Okay, just so you know which point is which point, this is my chest line, this is my bust point, this is my front waist line, and then this is the top length. Now you can work with any neckline measurement of your choice, but for this we're going to be making use of the standard measurement, which is 3 inches by 3 inches for the front. Now I'll go ahead to connect it. Now the shoulder slope for the front is 1.5 inches. Please listen to me. For the front is 1.5. Others do 1 inch, but for this method we're doing 1.5. Now go up by 3 inches from your chest line, and then inward you can do 0.5, but I usually go in with 0.75. And if you're too busty, highest you can do is like 1 inch. Okay, so me, I am working with 0.75. Now I'll connect it to that shoulder slope. Now after that, I'll go ahead to divide my round bust measurements by 4, mark it to connect a curve to create a perfect armhole curve. Now from those bust points, I'll go ahead to divide my nipple to nipple measurement by 2. I'll mark it, I'll take it all the way down. Now from this full length, you can come up by 2 inches. That is where you're going to stop your dart. Or from the shoulder line, use the standard measurement of 22 inches, then mark it. Now go ahead to mark your same nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 there. And now from the bust point here again, you're going to come down by 1 inch. Others do half inch, but 1 inch is very okay for me. And the reason why you're coming down with that 1 inch is so that it will not be too pointy when you're sewing the darts. And for the dart tightening, depending on the bust measurement you're working with, you can do 0.5 on both sides, you can do 0.75 on both sides, or 1 inch on both sides. I will be working with 0.5 inches on both sides. I'll just go ahead to connect the curves just the way you are seeing in this video here right now. And you will notice I am not rushing most of the things here. I'm taking my time to allow it to play gradually so you'll be able to see it and understand very well. So you have any question, you'll be able to ask. Now, after connecting the dart, I'll go ahead to divide my round bust measurement and then I'll mark it. I'll divide my round waist measurement by 4, mark it. I'll pick that dart there and then return it backward there. I'll divide my upper hip measurement by 4, I'll mark it, and then I'll connect the 3 lines together. And at this point, it is fair enough for me to tell you to subscribe to this channel, to like this video. Please don't just watch it or don't just download it and go like that. Watch it, please. Now this 1.5 inches is what we're going to be using for the side dart. Like I said, that's the difference between the front half length and the back half length. Now from the bust point, I'll mark it downward and connect connect it to meet this point here. Now if you don't want it to meet that point, like to be too pointy there, you can go outward by 1 inch, just the way we went down by 1 inch here. You can just go outward by 1 inches. Now that is where you're going to be connecting it. Now basically this is it. You've achieved your basic block for the front. Now this side that you can transfer it to the armhole, you can also transfer it to the shoulder line here if you want. I'll explain to you how you can transfer it. So for the shoulder, you're going to divide whatever you have there by 2 and then connect it down to that bust point. I'm going to use a dash dot here just to give you a little illustration, since I'm not going to be transferring mine. So simply after you've done that, for you to transfer the bust dart, you have to slash that part open, then slash this part open. That way you'll be able to transfer the dart. Okay, so please don't be confused here. In order for you to transfer the dart, it means your dart leg is going to touch that your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 there. And also, if you want to transfer it to your armhole area, you're just going to go ahead to create a dash dot to meet that bust point there. Now, basically, when we slash this part open, we're able to transfer the dart to the armhole or to the shoulder. Now, you can decide to leave this part straight, but to give it a little shape, I'll go up by 1 inch and blend it into the main line. Now, with this, we're done with the front block. Now, I'll just go ahead to do the back part quickly. Now, from the shoulder, I'm going to mark to my chest line, which is 8.5. Now, to the back half length, which is 15 inches here. Now from this line, I'm going to go up by 1.5 inches, which I told you we were going to be minusing from the back measurements, right? So that it will blend when we are sewing. So basically, this is my chest line, this is my back half length, and then this is my back full length. Now for the back, I'm going to be doing the standard neckline of 3 inches by, you can do 1 inches downward, but I'm going to be doing 1.5 inches here. Now I'll go ahead to connect it with a curve this way. So also here, I'll divide my shoulder measurement by 2, mark it. The same thing, I'll mark it on my chest line just so I get a straight line. Now for the back, now remember I told you for the front we used 1.5 inches for the shoulder slope, right? So for the back, we're going to be doing 1 inches shoulder slope here. Now after marking it, I'll go ahead to connect it to the neckline. Now I'll divide whatever I have here by 2. Here I went up by 3 inches, but here we're going to be dividing whatever we have here by 2 to get a midpoint. Now after getting the midpoint, you can decide to leave it that way, but I'll be going in by 0.5 inches for the back, and then I'll go ahead to connect my lines to get my armhole curve. And if there's anything you're not understanding, take your time to watch it over again. You can slow it down, just make sure you are understanding it. Now I'll divide my round bust measurement here by 4, just so I'll be able to get the proper armhole curve. Now I'll go ahead to divide my nipple to nipple measurements by 2. I'll mark it, which is 4 inches down. I'll come down by 1 inches there, and I'll go ahead to measure down to 22 inches, just the way I did for the front here. Remember we used 20 inches, which I told you was the standard. Now I'll do the same thing for the back, mark my nipple to nipple measurements, and then open it up with 0.5 inches, just the way I did for the front. I'll go ahead to connect it just the way you're seeing in this video. Okay, so just watch closely at what I am doing and replicate the same thing, and if you want to make adjustments to yours, it is okay, so long as it's not going to alter the measurement or the drafting. But I'll advise you follow the same process, and subsequently you can create your own pattern or what works for you. Now I'll go ahead to divide my round waist measurements by 4, and then I'll return that intake we took. I also divide my upper hip measurement by 4. I'll mark it, and then I'll go ahead to connect my shapes. So this period, I've decided to carry this YouTube on my head. I've decided to challenge myself to post more. So please subscribe, share the video. So remember, I went up here by 1 inches for the front. I'm going to be doing the same thing for the back, so it balances well when we are sewing. And now for the last part of this drafting, I'm going to be doing the back tightening. Now I'll be coming in with 0.75. You can do 0.5 inches for yours if you want. Now I'll go ahead to connect it to the neckline and downward here to the hip line. Now blend it out just to remove any sharpness. Now this is all for the front and the back drafting for the basic block. You can screenshot it so that when you're working on yours, you'll be able to make reference. Now this is the front and the back block. Look at how beautiful and how neat it is looking. Basically that is it. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead to cut it out from this center line. So I'll cut out the back part and also cut out the front part. And for the front part, I'll be explaining the darts transfer again for you to understand better. So this is me cutting out the back part. Nothing much to say here. Just watch closely and follow the same process. That's if you're using the same method to cut out yours, and trust me, you're going to end up with something as clean and as beautiful as this. Now this is how the back is looking. Very good and very snatched. So now basically all you have to do is when you're transferring to your fabric, add your sewing allowance all the way around, because we did not add it on the pattern paper. Okay, so now this is the front block, and like I said, I am not going to be transferring my dart to the bust line or the shoulder line, But for this tutorial, I'm going to be explaining to you just in case you want to transfer yours. I'm going to first of all cut it out, then I'll explain to you, I'll show you practically how you are going to be able to transfer it if you want to transfer the dart. So if you're still watching to this very end and you have not done the things I asked you to do, like subscribe, comment, like the video, share it. Like you have not done that, why now? Okay, so let me continue with the tutorial. I know you'll do that at the end of this video. Okay, so like I said, to transfer your dart, you have to open up the side dart first. Now I'll go ahead to also cut out the princess dart that I traced out. Now after opening it up, you see it is very easy to be able to move it around. Now when you close it up, it means you have transferred the boss dart to the armhole dart this way. Okay, so now when you're sewing, this is how you are going to cut out on your fabric and all of that. Now if you want to transfer this to the shoulder line, you have to cut out the shoulder line this way, just the way you're seeing in this video. It's as simple as that. Now cut it to meet the boss point. After that, it means you've transferred that from the armhole to the shoulder line, just the way you're seeing in this video. As simple as that. Okay, so meaning you've transferred the dart to the shoulder line. And basically with everything being said, that's all for the drafting. Please come back for the sewing part of this video. Okay, so just it's preference. You can decide or choose whichever one you want. But like I said, me, I am not going to be transferring it. I'm going to be using the dart on the armhole area just the way I drafted it. So I'll go ahead to close up all this part I just showed you. So when I'm transferring it to fabric, I'll just go ahead to add my sewing allowance, extend the dart out and cut. Okay, so I'm just trying to show you, for me to blend the side, just so these two parts, just the side matches very well. When I sew the side dart, these sides are going to sit equally. Okay, you're going to see that in the sewing process of this video. Just so this video is not long and you don't get bored, this video is just the pattern drafting. If you are very good with sewing, you can go ahead to do this without me showing the sewing part, but in my next tutorial I'm going to be uploading the sewing part.